Good afternoon, EDH enthusiasts. My name is Flynn, and we're back again on the nonsense with another Hare Apparent commander deck. Hare Apparent is a 2-mana 2/2 rabbit noble from Foundations. When it enters, we create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures we control named Hare Apparent. It also has the unique clause that allows us to include any number of cards named Hare Apparent in our deck. This means that as we play subsequent Hare Apparent copies, we will begin to create more tokens each time. And this is of course going to be the main focus of our deck. In our previous video, we explored a similar deck to this utilizing Shilgangar, Sire of Famine, to go into black as our second color and utilizing some reanimator strategies. For this video, we will be exploring red, using Arabella, Abandoned Doll, as our commander. Arabella is a 2-mana 1/3 toy with 1 ability. Whenever Arabella attacks, she deals X damage to each opponent and we gain X life, where X is the number of creatures we control with power 2 or less. Since both our Hare Apparents and then the tokens that they create are each of power 2 or less, these will help maximize the amount of damage Arabella will deal. Because she only needs to be declared an attacker to trigger her ability, we can play this deck rather passively, building up an army of creatures and creature tokens and swinging in with just our commander. That being said, let's begin with 30 copies of Hare Apparent. I find this to be a pretty good number to include, as we'll likely begin the game with a copy or two in our opening hand. We want to be able to play these as soon as possible to begin generating tokens. We're not going to create any tokens upon the first one being cast, since it's only looking for other Hare Apparents that are already in play. Thrumming Stone is our other key piece here. While this is in play, whenever we cast a copy of Hare Apparent, we can reveal the top 4 cards of our library. We can then play any of the revealed Hare Apparent cards from among them, and the rest go to the bottom of our library. Those cards that are cast off of this will also trigger the Thrumming Stone, letting us dig even deeper to snag up as many copies of Hare Apparent as we can hit. These will of course give us a lot of tokens as the new Hare Apparent cards hit play, see each other, and create an entire army of 1/1 rabbit tokens. Now for this variant, I did lean a little bit more into the aggression and optimization, and so we are on both Imperial Recruiter and the Recruiter of the Guard to help us tutor for one of our Hare Apparent in the event that we don't snag them up right away. We can also tutor for cards such as Agate Instigator, which pings each opponent for 1 damage whenever we have a creature enters under our control. This also has Offspring, giving us a 1/1 token copy of the Instigator should we pay 2 additional mana. Along those same lines, we have Impact Tremors, which does the same thing but on an enchantment. Perforos, God of the Forge, shocks each opponent whenever another creature enters under our control, meaning that once we start churning out rabbits, we can make short work of our opponents. Now before you ask, I did consider War Leader's Call. It's a solid card for these kinds of decks, however, it also pumps up some of our key creatures to 3 power, which puts them outside of Arabella's range. This is not ideal, and so I will say that if you feel the trade-off of less burn damage off of our commander is worth getting an additional ping ability and an anthem, more power to you. Get it? It's an anthem effect. I'm also utilizing Delny Streetwise Lookout for a ton of value. See, their ability gives our creatures a good amount of unblockability by anything larger, but the real use comes from that second ability. Getting an additional trigger off of abilities of creatures with power 2 or less is tremendous in this deck. Our Hare Apparents will generate tokens twice, which will mean our board state will develop even faster. In addition, Arabella's attack trigger will burn opponents twice. Delny might be a little bit on the pricier side of things at the time of recording, but I think they are definitely worth investing and including. Since we are deliberately running smaller creatures, Meekstone is a pretty good bit of protection, ensuring that the larger creatures that would otherwise threaten our life total are rendered relatively unable to attack. Our tiny rabbit army is also pretty helpful when used with Cavalcade of Calamity, which pings the defending player whenever a creature with power 1 or less attacks them. Since we have plenty of cards in our deck between our pinger creatures and our commander who deal non-combat damage to our opponents, Grafted Exoskeleton is a great alternate win condition. Rather than dealing 40 damage to each opponent, you can grant a creature infect and then only need to deal 10 non-combat damage. Finally, with our creature token army also being able to win games by simply turning sideways, we do run Throne of the God Pharaoh to get in some additional burn damage, and of course Halo Fountain as a means to untap and win us the game. Arabella does approach the token strategy in a slightly more aggressive way than the other ways that we've looked at this deck. We sacrifice the option of going huge with our tokens by excluding such cards as Cathar's Crusade, with sticking low to the ground to get in damage where we can. A combination of combat and non-combat damage can be enough to take out the table all at once, and that's really what we're going for with this approach. But for now, that will bring us to the end of our second look at Hare Apparent, and our second look at Arabella, I suppose. What spicy tech do you have for this build? Let's talk in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, likes and shares are of course the best way to help support the channel grow. If you're new here, subscribe for more, and as always, my name is Flynn, and I'll see you all next video.